I've been pretty excited about this one, the new Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusif. We're going to be doing my full review on this one today. So it is available now at full retail only, of course. I'll drop a link down below if you want to pay that price, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I ordered it not long after it was first made available, but then it just kind of went off on its own direction. UPS had other plans and it got delayed substantially to the point where when I finally did get it in, I decided, you know what, instead of doing a first impressions at this point, I'm just going to wear it for a few days so that way I can give like more of a full complete review so I can actually touch on performance and just give you a more of a better idea of what I really get out of this one. So that's what I did. I've been wearing it for the past couple days and we're going to go over it. So I guess we'll just get it out of the way right now. Price point is expensive. Okay, this is the 100 ml bottle. You might notice that it has a bit of a redesign. I had to go find one of my 100 ml bottles just to make it an apples to apples comparison. This is a 100 ml Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette. This is the 100 ml L'Exclusif. You can see it's just, it feels a little bit smaller even though it's much deeper, just different. If you're curious, here it is up against a 150 ml as well. So that price point, 100 ml is $275. So that is what I ended up getting here. By the time you pay the tax, it ended up being almost $300 for this, which was just kind of nauseating. And I posted about that over on my community tab, and a few people did point out and say, you don't have to get the 100 ml, and you're right. The 50 or 60 ml bottle size is, I think, around $215 or so. So $215, $275, there are definitely some savings to be had. I was already in for the damage and just went for this one, but you're right, it's not completely necessary. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive straight into this, and we're going to talk about how it smells. Again, this isn't my first impressions, but just to kind of give you an idea of what I felt like when I first sprayed this one, it was definitely reminiscent of Bleu de Chanel Parfum, the most, just that richer parfum, but still with a noticeable difference. And the main thing that was different for me immediately was that this one is a bit more powdery. It is a bit more sweet. It has more of a kind of mature smell to it is the best way I can describe it. Now, keep in mind, at least in my opinion, as far as Bleu de Chanel goes, I think overall from the Eau de Toilette up to the Parfum, they're all pretty mature smelling as much as a blue fragrance can be. We're not talking Sauvage, Dylan Blue, anything like that, which might have more of a youthful feel. To me, Bleu de Chanel has always been as classy as it gets. So that's not unusual, but I do find this one to be substantially more refined, substantially more mature. And I think some people might go as far as to say, especially some younger guys out there, that maybe this has just a touch of an old smell to it. Now, to give credit where credit's due, I think Chanel did a great job on still keeping this one balanced. I don't think that you can really just slap an age on this one and send it down the road like you can with some other fragrances out there. I still think this would easily work for a wide variety of age ranges, although definitely going to be more appealing to the guys out there who do want something a little bit more mature and more classy. Think of it kind of achieving a similar thing that Dior Sauvage Elixir has done. And really, when you look at it, this is kind of like their take on Dior Sauvage Elixir. We've had the EDT, EDP, Parfum, and Elixir, and in this line we have had the EDT, EDP, Parfum, and L'Exclusif. So that's kind of, to me, their solution on a Sauvage Elixir type. Now, one thing I would definitely say is that Sauvage Elixir stands apart from the lineup of Sauvage more so than this one does. Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusif is kind of still maintaining more of the Bleu de Chanel roots. So let's take a look at the note breakdown here. We have amber, woody notes, labdanum, sandalwood. That's all they give you, and it gives a good idea of what you're in for. A stronger, woodier, sweeter, and more kind of smoky take on the Bleu de Chanel lineup. You're noticing some key components are missing. That grapefruit, that incense, and those are pretty common within the EDT and the EDP. less common in the Parfum, which instead uses a lemon zest accord. That's also absent here. Basically, all of that to say, you're not really starting off with much of a top note. You're not starting off with an overwhelmingly bright aspect like you do, especially within the first two Bleu de Chanel's. You're kind of warm and woody and spicy and kind of resinous right off the get-go here. Again, while this is most closest to Bleu de Chanel Parfum, there is still some key differences. It is more different than not. So when you look at it from a redundancy standpoint, there isn't much redundancy. They're still quite a bit different. It's just the main thing that's going to be the separating factor here is, of course, the big jump in price, coupled with the fact that even when Macy's, Sephora, Ulta run sales, like right now Macy's has a 15% off, that still doesn't apply to any Chanel fragrance. They are just very strict with their pricing and they want nothing to do with any sort of discount or, sale or anything. So it makes this kind of hard to get as far as you just have to be willing to open up your wallet to go for it. And keep in mind, we're still talking a designer brand, a designer fragrance coming in at this price point. It is pretty wild. You could have bought, a Roja Parfum or any Xerjoff or many Parfums de Marly or really name your pick, 2 or 3 Manceras for the price of this. So perspective is everything. And it gets harder every year. It really does from my standpoint of buying everything and reviewing everything. At what point do you kind of start to let that price point really change your recommendation? And I feel as though the further we go, the more years go by, the more I have to take that into consideration because it is starting to get a little bit out of hand. So that being said, I bought this. I have it now. I like how it smells a lot. I think it smells great. And it's kind of one of those things where, do I feel a little bit guilty about saying that? Yeah, a little bit, because I don't want people to feel FOMO or anything like that. But it is a fantastic smelling fragrance. From absolute start to finish, it is smooth, it is rich, it is luxurious, it is truly a premium wearing experience. And as far as uniqueness goes, again, still tying back to the Bleu de Chanel DNA, it's not niche in that regard. It's a common smell with a twist. You're not going to want to call it niche. But as far as the wearing experience is concerned, the performance, which we'll touch on, the quality, the blend, how everything is just coming together, it is truly a premium wearing experience, no doubt. But for me to sit here and say that everybody needs to go out and buy this right now, I'm just not going to do it. It's just, again, $215 for a small bottle, I believe. $275 for a 100 ml bottle, not even a big bottle, just big relative. That's a lot of money, and you really kind of have to just be a big fan of the lineup and just have the money to throw out there to really do that, and that's not up to me to decide. So I'm not going to say that. Make your choice, go try it in store first, see what you like. And go from there. What I will say is that the clone brands are going to have a heyday with this one, and I'm sure Fragrance World, Lattafa, they've got one in the works by now. I would think that, of course, that they would, especially because they probably got their hands on this earlier on, not being based in the U.S. So at some point, you can get a clone of this one for $20 to $30. And I would hope that that's going to come out soon. And when it does, again, that's going to be awesome because you're going to be able to get this into your collection without spending this much money. Let's talk about that performance. This one is a true Parfum concentration, which if it wasn't, that would just be a slap in the face. The performance is great. So, Bleu de Chanel Parfum has always been a really good performer for me. Of the three, the Parfum was always the best performing. It would cost a little bit more, still does, but the jump in performance, the blend, everything about it always made it to where Bleu de Chanel Parfum was my go-to pick between the EDP and the EDT. And so this one also has great performance as well, and a little bit better, a little bit stronger. Not much of a surprise. This one's much more woody, much more amber forward, more resinous with just a bit of a smoky feel as well. So you are getting longer lasting overall parameters here with this one. Typically, at least from the couple days that I've really given it some good wearings, it has had no problem to make 11, 12 hours longevity. What you do find is that the projection is on the softer side. Not a skin scent, but softer. And really, for something like this, that's something that I'm okay with because of the fact that this is such a mature, refined smelling scent. You wouldn't want it to be overly loud. You kind of want it to be more in your personal bubble. I did just one spray on my hand here before shooting this video just so I can reference it. And here and there I'll catch a whiff, nothing crazy. Now you can increase your sprays and get much better projection out of it. Do 2, 3, 4, 5 sprays and you're gonna be kicking out pretty good, so you can modulate it in that way. Definitely an amber heavy scent from start to finish. Not your usual like ambroxan type of amber that, you know, you see amber and it's really just a bunch of ambroxan. It's like a sweeter, more resinous amber forward smell, which is a little bit out of the ordinary for the lineup, but was introduced somewhat more so in the Parfum, and really it makes sense here in this one. Does have a nice soft, smooth dry down from all of that sandalwood that you pick up on. So, you know, the opening, it does have a bit of a punch to it, more so than you would expect, but that dry down is silky smooth and smells great. Overall, that's really it on Bleu de Chanel Exclusive. It smells amazing. I have it, I'm going to wear it. It's kind of one of those deals where, am I going to end up liking it better than the Parfum? I don't know. They're different enough to where I wouldn't wear this in certain situations that I would wear the Parfum. I wouldn't wear this in certain situations that I would wear the EDP or the EDT. This is the sweetest of the bunch. Going to be more for evening use, cooler times of the year. Whereas the EDT, EDP, Parfum even, I would be more inclined to wear those when it's warmer outside. Let me know down below, have you smelled the new Bleu de Chanel? If you have, was it a letdown? Did you like it? I mean, I know how this one's going to go. The price point is just, it is outrageous, and you know, it's very much a deterrent to the point where some people won't even want to try it because it is so ridiculously priced. And I understand completely. But if you have tried it out or bought a bottle, sampled it, whatever, what do you think of it? And let's take some bets down below. Who's going to be the first one to clone this? I'm still thinking Fragrance World, but who knows? Could be anybody, really. Like I mentioned, I'll drop that link down below if you want to buy this one at retail price if you've got any interest. But other than that, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.